In neighborhoods across the country, parents often seek out trustworthy individuals to care for their most precious possessions, their children. This trust forms the backbone of many families' routines. They rely on the comforting notion that caregivers will protect and nurture their young ones. However, in rare and unsettling cases, this trust can be misguided, as families discovered with Rachel Dunn. Rachel was a babysitter who, from the outside, seemed ideal in every way. But beneath her kind exterior, a sinister plot unfolded, threatening the very fabric of parental trust. Rachel's case stands as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous threats lurk where we least expect them. Her ability to seamlessly integrate into family life while harboring dark intentions challenges our assumptions about safety. This story of betrayal and cunning reveals how a trusted babysitter became a master manipulator. Rachel's actions were not just crimes against children, but an affront to the trust that binds communities together. Understanding how Rachel operated requires a deep dive into her methods and motives. Her story is not just one of crime, but of the psychological complexities that allow such betrayals to occur unnoticed. As we unravel the layers of this bizarre history, we find ourselves grappling with the unsettling truth that danger can sometimes wear a friendly face, and that vigilance is crucial even in the most familiar settings. Rachel Dunn was the picture of reliability and kindness. She was the babysitter every parent dreamed of. With her soft-spoken nature and attentive demeanor, she quickly won the hearts of both children and parents alike. Rachel had a unique approach to her work. She preferred to care for one child at a time. This focus allowed her to provide undivided attention, which endeared her to the families she worked for. With glowing references and a portfolio of happy stories, Rachel was in high demand. Her integration into these families was seamless. She became more than just a babysitter. She was part of the family fabric. Dinners with the family, sharing in birthdays, and even attending school functions were all part of her routine. Rachel's presence was comforting, almost like a gentle balm on the hectic schedules of modern family life. It was unthinkable that she could be anything other than the ideal caregiver. Yet beneath this facade lay a darkness that none could have anticipated. Rachel's preference for working with one child at a time was strategic. It allowed her to execute her plan without raising suspicion. Her charm and apparent devotion masked a calculated indifference to the suffering she would eventually cause. This duality of character, the trusted caregiver and the hidden predator, would only come to light when it was almost too late. The illnesses began innocuously. Each case started with minor symptoms: stomach pains, a slight fever, and general fatigue. These were the kinds of ailments parents have grown accustomed to over time. The flu, a stomach bug, or perhaps an allergic reaction seemed the likely culprits. Doctors, too, were quick to dismiss these symptoms as ordinary childhood illnesses. However, the frequency and similarity of these cases would later reveal a more sinister cause. Parents watched helplessly as their children became listless and pale. The usual remedies brought no relief, and repeated visits to pediatricians yielded no answers. The children's conditions would spike and then fade, leaving everyone puzzled. This cycle of wellness and illness became a nightmare for families. The stress and confusion took a toll on everyone involved, but at this stage, the idea of intentional harm was far from anyone's mind. As the weeks turned into months, the illnesses persisted, always resolving just as inexplicably as they began. Parents were caught in a whirlwind of emotions, swinging between relief and anxiety. They clung to the hope that the next doctor's visit would provide answers, never suspecting that the true source of their children's suffering was someone they trusted intimately. The pattern was subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Rachel's meticulous approach ensured that no two children fell ill at the same time, and she never worked in the same home twice. Her strategy was to blend in and then vanish, leaving behind nothing but a trail of unexplained illnesses. Without a common thread, families remained isolated in their confusion, never thinking to compare notes with others who had employed Rachel. Over time, whispers of concern began to circulate among healthcare professionals. While individual cases seemed benign, The accumulation of similar symptoms across different families hinted at something more nefarious. Yet, with no direct line connecting them, the dots remained unconnected. Rachel's careful planning kept her one step ahead, her actions hidden in plain sight. It was only through the persistence of one sharp-eyed nurse that the pieces of this puzzle began to coalesce. She noticed a similarity in symptoms across patients she had encountered in various clinics. Her observations, though initially dismissed, eventually set in motion a series of events that would unravel Rachel's carefully woven web of deceit. The nurse's determination to uncover the truth was a pivotal moment in bringing Rachel's crimes to light. The nurse, whose identity has been protected due to privacy concerns, was pivotal in Rachel's eventual capture. Her attention to detail and unwavering commitment to patient care led her to notice the uncanny similarities in the children's symptoms. What initially seemed like a simple coincidence began to solidify into a pattern too consistent to ignore. The nurse took it upon herself to delve deeper, reviewing medical records and toxicology reports that painted a disturbing picture. Her discovery was, honestly, groundbreaking. The symptoms shared by these children were linked to a rare toxic agent, one that should never have been present in their bodies. The toxicology reports, once disparate pieces of information, became the smoking gun needed to alert authorities. With her findings, the nurse approached the local health department, setting off an investigation that would ultimately lead to Rachel's doorstep. The nurse's tenacity and refusal to accept superficial explanations were instrumental in lifting the veil on Rachel's crimes. Her actions serve as a reminder of the critical role healthcare professionals play, not just in treating symptoms, but in seeking out their causes. In a field where life and death decisions are made daily, her dedication exemplified the very best of her profession and became a catalyst for justice. Rachel's interview with the police was, honestly, a masterclass in composure. She maintained an air of calmness that was both unnerving and, well, kind of impressive. As detectives laid out their findings, Rachel's demeanor never wavered. Her responses were measured, her tone steady, as if she were merely discussing the weather. This unsettling poise made it difficult to reconcile the evidence against the woman who sat before them. The interview was a dance of subtle pauses and deliberate words. Rachel's silence at critical moments spoke volumes, suggesting an awareness of her precarious situation. Detectives pressed on, carefully navigating the balance between confrontation and inquiry. Despite their efforts, Rachel's exterior showed no cracks, her control over her emotions as tight as ever. It was this calm facade that had allowed her to go unnoticed for so long. Yet, beneath the surface, Rachel's mind was undoubtedly racing. The questions were closing in, each one narrowing the space for her to maneuver. The calmness that had served her so well now became a liability, as it marked her out as someone with something to hide. For the detectives, it was a psychological battle, each question a step closer to unmasking the real Rachel Dunn. The evidence against Rachel was honestly damning. Found among her personal belongings was a small vial containing the toxic substance identified in the children's blood. This discovery was the linchpin in the case against her. It confirmed the suspicions of the investigators and provided the concrete link needed to charge her with multiple counts of poisoning. Alongside the vial were handwritten notes with detailed observations about each family she had worked for, revealing a chilling level of premeditation. Rachel's meticulous records painted a picture of a woman who planned each incident with precision. The notes included dates, symptoms, and even potential opportunities to administer the poison. This evidence left little room for doubt about her intentions. It was a stark contrast to the persona she had presented to the world, a caring and dedicated babysitter. The juxtaposition of her public image and private actions was both shocking and tragic. The discovery of this evidence marked the end of Rachel's reign of terror. It was a reminder that no matter how carefully one plans, the truth often finds a way to the surface. For the families affected, these revelations were both a relief and a source of deep anguish, as they grappled with the betrayal of someone they had trusted implicitly. Rachel Dunn's trial was swift and decisive. The weight of evidence was overwhelming, and the jury took little time in reaching a verdict. She was convicted on multiple counts of poisoning and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The conviction brought a measure of justice to the families, but it could not erase the trauma they had endured. The children, though physically recovered, bore emotional scars that would take years to heal. For many of the affected families, the trial was a harsh reminder of their experiences. The courtroom served as a stage for reliving the worst moments of their lives. Witnesses recounted their interactions with Rachel, their voices tinged with disbelief and anger. The legal process, while necessary, was another hurdle in their journey toward healing. It underscored the profound impact Rachel's actions had on every aspect of their lives. Rachel's conviction sent shockwaves through the community. It was a story that captivated the nation, a reminder of the potential for darkness in unexpected places. The case prompted many families to re-evaluate their own childcare arrangements, highlighting the importance of vigilance and trust. While justice was served, the question remained: how could such a betrayal have occurred, and how could it be prevented in the future? In the aftermath of Rachel Dunn's crimes, the community was left to pick up the pieces. The case served as a stark warning about the potential dangers lurking within seemingly safe environments. It forced families, caregivers, and communities to take a closer look at their own practices and assumptions. The lessons learned from this case were many, but most importantly, it highlighted the need for vigilance and open communication between parents, caregivers, and healthcare professionals. The families affected by Rachel's actions faced a long road to rebuilding trust and normalcy. While the physical health of the children was restored, the psychological impact lingered. Therapy and counseling became essential tools in their recovery, offering a chance to process their experiences and move forward. For the parents, the journey was one of forgiveness and resilience as they worked to shield their children from further harm. Rachel Dunn's story is a chilling reminder of hidden dangers that can exist even in trusted settings. It underscores the importance of thorough vetting and monitoring of those we entrust with our loved ones. The legacy of this case is a community more aware, more vigilant, and more determined to protect its most vulnerable members. As we look to the future, the hope is that these lessons will lead to a safer environment for all children, where trust is not misplaced and innocence is preserved.